Every Tuesday, we catch up with the master impressionist, our friend Joey Mulinaro from Barstool Sports. He's also from Indianapolis, and Indy's been in the news a little bit this week with the NFL, changing the logo up for the Colts. The Colts, I always thought, had one of those uniforms that would always last. Very simple, but very clean. New logo this week, and it looks like a chocolate chip cookie. Joey, what did the locals think about Indianapolis as the Colts' new logo?
Morning, guys. Yeah, it's tough because the Colts fan base is really like divided between kind of the young and up and comers, and then a hard group of like my grandmother and a bunch of who I call Larry Wilsons, who are just like wearing Peyton Manning jerseys, like the Reebok Peyton Manning jerseys, and wearing turtlenecks underneath it, and they call the Colts the Coats.
Tucked in. Everything's tucked in.
Oh, yeah, it's tucked in. They're wearing the New Balances. They're wearing the headset on at the game to listen to it. You know what I mean? Like they're sitting in the stands listening to the radio broadcast. So they have to do a fine line of trying to appease the young, newer crowd, but then also not completely piss off the Facebook brigade of their Larry Wilson Colts fans. So I think they did an all right job. I think that from what I'm reading, people are okay with it because it's not too, people in Indiana don't like too much of a change. Yeah. So, add a little bit of a black outline here and there, and they're all right with it, I guess.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what makes me laugh is they're like basically exactly the same. They added the little C with the state of Indiana in the middle. They added like the word Colts and changed the font up a little bit, but they still got the logo. They know not to mess with a good thing, not to mess with their fan base.
What's funny is that so there's a high school here on the north side of Indy called Cathedral, and that's one of their alternate logos. Is they have like the state of Indiana in the middle of the C. So that's what came out yesterday. It was just like, okay, how hard are we really trying here, guys? Because you just looked right up north for Cathedral, and you found your alternate logo.
That'd be great if the high school sent them a letter, like a cease and desist letter.
We really cover out of this.
You have to shut that down.
Some graphic designer's getting exposed, right? He had like a deadline to hit. He's like, I don't know. Look, man, they've been here for 35 years now. Okay, well, while we're talking Colts, then Joey. What is look? Everybody's just hoping for football season. So I don't want to get into any of that crap, but let's assume that we're going to get some sort of NFL ball. What is the current temperature around Phil Rivers and the Colts? Like, are they expecting to be right back where they were a couple of years ago, battling for the AFC?
I wouldn't go that far. The biggest news here is that I found out where Phil Rivers' kids are going to be going to school, and I don't mean that in a weird way, but I know that.
So explain.
I should probably preface that with something there. But no, he's a Catholic. He's a Catholic dude, obviously. Pumping out 10 kids and doing his job there. But I'm a Catholic school kid here from Indianapolis as well. So that was like a big thing in the Catholic school community. Is like, okay, who's recruiting Rivers' kids? Who's getting the Rivers family to go to either Roncalli, where I went, or Bishop Chatard or Cathedral. So we found out that they are keeping on the Cathedral theme. They are going to Cathedral. So my guys lost out there.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah. So
facilities. Was it the facilities that got y'all?
Yeah, I think it was the facilities. I think it was the history. I think they have a little extra on the side. You know, they can kind of offer some behind-the-scenes deals. So I don't want to point any fingers, but they usually went out on Terry McLaurin, the dude from Ohio State, one of Joe Burrow's buddies, the Washington Redskins receiver from this year. He went to Cathedral. They got a strong line of NFL talent that my squad doesn't. But what I'm really most interested in is just hearing Jim Irsay and Phil Rivers talk back and forth this year. I wish that we could get not only a weekly quarterback press conference, but a weekly owner quarterback conversation that we could all listen in on, because I think Phil Rivers is just going to be absolutely electric here in Indianapolis with his bolo ties and all of his, hotheadness, if that's a word. I don't think it is, but
it exists here.
So I think they'll be more entertaining for sure, but I don't know if they'll be back up towards the AFC.
He's going to be like, dadgum, Jim, you on the pills again? Come on, man, get it together.
This guy's loopy.
You keep trying to get me on the Mr. I can't.
Bro, he's a pillhead. I don't know what to tell you. You can't get pulled over with a suitcase full of like cash and pills, and they give the post-game speech that he did at the playoffs a couple of years ago where he was talking nonsense. he was talking crazy. I mean, he's successful. The Colts are good, but yeah, the owner's just he plays a little fast and loose. It's all good.
Hey! I don't know, man. I don't know how far we can go with that. All right, we've got Philip Rivers, Little Rivers band coming to town this year, man, and we're excited about it. Okay.
So Joey, before we get into more sports stuff, I do have my Star Wars shirt on right now.
I saw that, man. I forgot to comment. I was watching when you were talking to Coach Joseph. That was looking good.
Yeah, and you got to do something that I think all Star Wars fans would dream of. You got to hang out and talk to an actual member of the cast, get some behind the scenes stories. You got to hang out with Snap Wexley from the sequel trilogy. Greg Grunberg, you may know him from Lost. He's a big J.J. Abrams guy. What was your favorite behind-the-scenes Star Wars story that Greg told you about?
He was first off, he was just an awesome dude. Like sometimes you think you get into these Hollywood actors, they can like big time you and just be, just a big jerk or something like that. And he wasn't at all. He was like so down, so happy to be there, so happy to talk to all of us. So that was really cool to start. But then I got to ask him, I was just like, okay, Harrison Ford, Billy D. Williams, you're on set with both of them at one point. Like, what was the coolest one? Like what was the most, like, wow moment? He just went into, like, a whole thing about him and Harrison Ford and how, like, he had that same feel with Harrison Ford of, like, this is the coolest dude of all time. He could be a total, jerk off. And I wouldn't blame him for it, but he was just saying how Harrison Ford was, like, nothing but gracious and, like, supportive. And he didn't, he says that he, like, messed up. You remember the scene in Force Awakens, T-Bob, when he is, like, talking to the whole entire, like, fleet, the Resistance fleet at the end?
Absolutely.
Right. He's, like, performing in front of, like, 200 people, Harrison Ford right across the, map from him. And that's, like, a high-pressure moment, right? And he said that he messed up a couple times, but Harrison Ford was just nothing but just, completely supportive and just like, hey, kid, don't worry about it. Like, shake it off. Like, so to me, I was like, holy cow, that's great. Because Harrison Ford is just obviously, like, everybody's hero. And to know that he's not, complete jackass or anything was really, really cool for him to be able to, hear about and tell me about.
Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting if there's a cooler guy than Ford in all of Hollywood. All right, though, Joey, I need you to get on the phone. It was great talking to you. I need to talk to Mel Kiper. It is draft season. Easter just passed me by. I've been thinking a lot about chosen ones, okay? Whether that be Joe Burrow, who's going to have a statue made of him that led LSU to the promised land, or whether that be the man who rolled the stone to the side himself. We're talking about Jesus. Mel, tale of the tape, comparing Jesus Christ to Joe Burrow. Who are you taking first overall?
Yeah, I think when you look at both these guys, they got a lot of similarities. Jesus from the Middle East, Joe Burrow from the Midwest, savior of the franchise, whether it be Joe Burrow, the savior of LSU last season, or Jesus, the savior of all of mankind, really, when you look at it. So a lot of similarities. I do worry about Jesus, though, in a couple of ways. One, he had somebody on the inside that was his teammate that betrayed him, Judas. How is that going to play out in the locker room? How is that going to play out for a general manager? That is a little bit of a red flag. Joe Burrow, not as many red flags. You look at a kid, like I said, from the Midwest, coming down to the South, winning over everybody, wins over Coach Joe. That's a big win in my book. You don't talk about somebody in Joe Burrow who can resurrect a franchise, bring him back from the dead. That's Joe Burrow to a T. You want to bring him into Cincinnati, they're looking for a savior themselves, and I think they don't have to look any further than Joe Burrow.
In Burrow, we trust. Joey, we love you.
Hey,
thank you.
Hey, I love you guys. This is great of having a little Joey. I feel like I was like opening up. You know what I mean? Like the opening act for the main stage with Joe Burrow. Give Joey B my love. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna be tuning in, and thanks as always, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Always, there he is, Joey Mulinaro, checking in from the Midwest.
WWJD
from Barstool Sports.
What would
Good
Joe
stuff
do?
as possible, as always.